Hi everyone, welcome back to my YouTube channel. This is Murakumo, and in today's video I will be talking about my career in Final Fantasy. Final Fantasy is a game that I really love, hence the reason why I've now put up 2 clips of it. I don't even remember how many hours, but the last time I checked I was well over 400 hours. So it's safe to say that this is something that I'm pretty passionate about. I started playing Final Fantasy back in 2015, and prior to that I was playing an MMO that some of you may know, DC Universe Online. And I'm really into MMOs because the aspect of grinding for gear and working to get to the next level is something that appeals to me in video games. You know, you're never really bored as long as you're always striving to get to the next tier of content. And so a friend recommended me to Final Fantasy XIV, like shortly after, well, a while after we started playing DCUO really, and we were back on PlayStation 3, so that's even like a long time ago. It started off with all of our friends. It was literally like 7 of us, and we were all just playing together, having fun together, leveling classes, like running dungeons, and it was really fun. And you know, as with all things, occasionally like your friends kind of split off and do other things, so eventually like some of our friend group stopped playing as much, and you know, those of us that wanted to stick with it stuck with it. When I did start this game back in 2015, I started as the monk class because I very much enjoyed martial arts when I was younger, and so I was like, oh, I get to punch and kick things and do martial arts, that would be a great place to start. You know, and I really enjoyed Monk. Back then the level cap in Final Fantasy was level 50, so I got Monk to level 50 and I proceeded to do content from there. If you're familiar with MMOs, you know that there are sometimes roles for people to play, being tank, healer, damage dealer. So I mean, for also like most of my career in DC Universe Online, I was a damage dealer. So Final Fantasy was actually the first game where I decided to seriously try another class, and it was tank. So I started leveling the paladin class, and I kind of branched out in that way, and I really enjoyed it. You know, a lot of people don't like doing tank because they think it's kind of boring, hence why if you ever play any MMO ever, the damage dealer queues are forever and a half long, and then tanks are almost insta-queue. But I really enjoyed it. You know, there's a certain type of glory that comes with being the person that has to essentially keep your team alive. You know, like you have to pick up all the aggro from all the enemies, and you have to make sure that you're healing yourself and dodging attacks and circling through your cooldowns to keep yourself alive. And it's not a very easy skill. Like, for me it's easier to just press the buttons of a combo as a damage dealer and just hit things until they die. But you know, playing tank and eventually later on playing healer, you learn different types of skills, and overall I think it makes you better if you can do different types of things. So like I mentioned, after I leveled tank, after I leveled paladin, I branched out and tried white mage, and again, another time where I'm completely out of my element, considering I've been doing damage dealer the entire time in DCUO, and white mage was just absolutely amazing. It was like blowout in terms of heals compared to what was back then. It was only Scholar that it was competing with, so white mage was just like dominating. Here in the background, if you look, you see this incredibly long cutscene. Yes, we do have to literally sit through this, and you can't really do anything, and every time you run it you have to sit through this like 30-second cutscene. Yes, it happens every single time, but you'd never really get tired of it. But back to what I was saying, so when I learned how to do healer, it was really eye-opening. I thought, as a damage dealer, I thought that healers kind of had the easiest job. You just like mash heals to keep people alive, but I soon came to learn that if you don't have the proper gear, it doesn't really matter how many times you press that heal button, you can't really keep people alive. And I also learned that, I mean, it goes without saying, if you're the healer and you die, you kind of screw over the rest of your party because they were relying on you to keep them alive. So yeah, that was a great experience for me. Eventually, every 2 years, Final Fantasy has like large expansions, and the first expansion was A Realm Reborn. I wasn't actually playing for that expansion, but I was on board for Heavensward. That was the first expansion I ever experienced, and expansions for Final Fantasy are huge. Everybody stays up until the servers are available to start playing, and that's like 6 a.m. in the morning, and as soon as you get in, there's server lag and people are getting disconnected and everybody, but like the energy surrounding it is so surreal. It's interesting, like the type of experiences that you can get from people through a screen, you know, like playing with other players who are also experiencing the same thing. It felt like a community, and I enjoy that aspect of Final Fantasy a lot. Shortly after I began in Heavensward, they released, I believe, the Astrologian class, the Dark Knight class, and the Machinist class. And this is rationale for what I'm about to say next, but a teacher told me in like 6th grade that people crave the most the things that they have the least of. And my mom discouraged me and my younger brother from playing with guns, so like we never had any Nerf guns. I literally have not owned a Nerf gun until I was like 21 years old, and I think that may be related to why when I saw the Machinist class, which is based entirely on like guns, weapons, and artillery, I like fell in love. I was like, this is it. I get to shoot things. This is amazing. And it was really cool. It's also like really tech based, and I am into tech, so I like felt at home. I really loved it. Eventually, later down the line in Heavensward was the first time I tried like Scholar seriously, and I was like, oh man, this is OP. Like, basically you have this fairy that heals with you, and I mean that's a lifesaver, because there are times where you can't click on somebody fast enough, but your AI fairy can, and they can, and of course the fairy comes with its own healing skills, you know. Like White Mage was kind of like the powerhouse. It was really simple, but it was very powerful, and Scholar felt like it had a lot more utility. Like there were a lot more things that I could be doing as opposed to like on White Mage, and I really enjoyed that part of playing Scholar. 2 years later, we got the Stormblood expansion, and we got the Red Mage class and the Samurai class, and I switched to Red Mage because I thought it would be kind of cool to like wield magic and like swing a sword. It was actually pretty dope. It turned out to be slightly less like exciting than I thought it would be, you know. It was really basic, but I really enjoyed it. It was still pretty fun hitting like huge numbers as a damage dealer. During that time I was also flip-flopping between Red Mage and Machinist. So another 2 years later, on our current expansion, we get Shadowbringers, and we got the Gunbreaker class and the Dancer class, and I've been Gunbreaker ever since we got Shadowbringers. That was the first thing I leveled and got to level 80, our new level cap, and playing Gunbreaker has just been awesome. You know, you're a tank, of course, and I explained why I love tank earlier. And you know, you're just like swinging a sword, doing all these cool moves. You have like this 6-button combo. It's just insanely nasty. It's awesome. Gunbreaker is also what I'm maining currently going forward in Final Fantasy. I don't know for how long. I do switch my main pretty often, but that's my goal. I do intend to make more videos, and I plan to call the series Road to the Top, where I'm basically scaling to get to item level 470, but more on that to come. Thanks for watching my YouTube video. Like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys next time.